Welcome to the video. We are today going to read Wealth Magnet number 2, which is Unequivocal Belief in Abundance. And I'm actually gonna, it's funny they're talking about water. I'm actually about to take a drink because my throat is so dry today. All right, let's get started. Water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. Our world is no desert island. There's money, money everywhere. Drink all you want. Move this out of the way. If you do not hang out with the people who own private planes or shares in private jets, or at least fly first class everywhere they go, if you do not hang out with people who have their shirts and suits custom tailored, if you do not hang out with people who own racehorses or boats or vacation homes, if you do not hang out with people who are extremely prosperous and adept at wealth attraction, you might be fooled into thinking that money is tight, or money in limited supply, or hard to come by. And based on those thoughts, you might inhibit your own wealth attraction, or you might think such people are rare in small number, but they are not. And I just want to add a little note of my own in there. This is why it's so cool to be a part of the Empower Network. Before I joined the Empower Network, if you've heard my story, you know that I come from a background of just growing up in poverty, raised by a single mother, always on government assistance, lived in a tiny, tiny little apartment, no car. Completely, in poverty. And because of that, my whole programming and mentally was just totally just jacked up, to say the least. But since joining Empower Network and just being around people who are actually wealthy and successful, because in everyday life, you can't just go hang out. Like, you can't just go and hang out with, the doctor that lives down the street, or your local dentist or anybody that's wealthy. You can't just go hang out with them. They're not approachable, They know that they're different from you, and they quite frankly probably don't want to be around you because you're broke. But in the Empower Network, you get to be welcomed into this community of people who are ultra successful, ultra wealthy, and guess what? They want to do nothing but share with you how they did it and teach you to do the exact same thing. And that's exactly what the mission of Empower Network is, and it's amazing, and that's why I love it. So, while it is true that the recession, stock market collapse, real estate value reversals, and related economic trauma of the past recent years did take its toll on the super rich, the merely rich, and the mass affluent or nearly rich, it's also true that it left plenty of people in these populations, with plenty more moving up as we speak. After all, if you are worth $100 million or $10 million and temporarily see a 10, 20, or even 30% of your net worth disappear, you are still worth 70 million, 80 million, or 90 million, or if starting with 10 million, still worth 7 million, 8 million, or 9 million. The loss is annoying, possibly scary briefly, but it doesn't change the fact that you are wealthy. Further, one thing about everybody who has amassed most of or all their wealth through their own ingenuity, effort, investment, and attraction, as opposed to inheritance, hitting the lottery, or having been president of the United States and then cashing in afterward, is that they know how to replace wealth lost. They know how to attract it and are quite confident in their ability to do so. It happens that I travel by private jet myself, and I can tell you there was recently a downturn in all aspects of the private aviation business. But I can also tell you that there are still waiting lines to land at and take off from private terminals at many airports, multi-million-dollar jets being purchased every day, and companies like NetJets ferrying about more self-made affluence you've ever heard of than celebrities you have heard of, to and from their second and third homes, weekend golf games, vacations, and of course, business meetings. The rising tide of affluence is so great, we even added a newsletter to our stable, which I edit, devoted entirely to marketing to the affluent, and I wrote an entire book on the subject, The No BS Guide to Marketing to the Affluent. Plan on picking that one up as well. Anyways, if these are not the circles you hang out in, then poking your nose in there will be very good for you. Exposure to the reality of a world you may only think of as fodder for TV and movies and a few glossy magazines can alter your entire attitude about attracting wealth for yourself. The very idea of personal wealth attraction is easier to accept the more you personally see, experience, and understand just how much free-flowing wealth there is to attract. It's a bit like never actually seeing the ocean from a penthouse balcony and only reading about it in a book or seeing pictures in a magazine. The enormity of it, the vastness of it, just doesn't hit you until you experience it in person. I'm going to throw another plug in there for Empower Network. That's another reason why you absolutely have to get to one of our events. If you're not in Empower Network, or even if you are, and you're someone who's totally committed to increasing your attraction to wealth and your wealth attraction ability, oh my gosh, like getting to one of these Empower Network events, you get to actually see people, normal people, average people, people who used to be construction workers 6 months ago, people who used to be just regular real estate agents or salespeople just a few months ago were just in the same spot as you, all of a sudden extremely wealthy. It's amazing to see. And you know what happens is when you get there, you see that it's possible for you, and it totally changes your belief, and it gives you a power just within you just to make it happen for yourself as well. So get to the Empower Network events. I suggest the following experiences. Visit the Forum Shops in Las Vegas, Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, or Bergdorf Goodman in New York City. Vacation in Boca Raton, Florida, Scottsdale, Arizona, or Aspen, Colorado. Immediately go to your nearest bookstore and pick up copies of The Rob Report, Millionaire, Worth, and Town & Country magazines. Go on a field trip to a classic car auction or a racehorse auction. In short, in person or at a distance, through media, immerse yourself in the lifestyles of the affluent. Not only will you be surprised at the prices cheerfully paid for goods and services, you'll be more amazed at the vast array of very high-priced goods and services designed for affluent customers. You'll even be more amazed at just how many affluent customers there are. Oh, this is something else that I jotted down, and I really began to realize reading this book and reading this particular chapter is, it's so true. Like, think about who you are surrounded by. Like that saying that if you have 4 broke friends, you're probably going to be the 5th. Like the people that you surround yourself with, that you're around all the time, and that becomes your reality. And it not only becomes your reality, but it becomes your viewpoint of the world. So we all think, every single person does this, we look at our surroundings, our environment, our immediate relationships with people, and we think that that's our worldview. That's how we view the world, is our immediate little environment. Like think of it as a fish in a fishbowl, okay? The fish is always in the fishbowl. He's always in water. He's always around rocks, and there's a little plant in the corner. He thinks that's the world. He doesn't know that on the outside of the fishbowl, there's all this other stuff. There's mountains, there's ocean, there's earth, there's everything to be explored, and tons of it, but he just knows the little fishbowl and what's inside the fishbowl. So that's exactly how we relate our immediate environment to the world. So realizing that there's a world outside of our environment and that we can be a part of that, especially if it's amazing and if it's something that has to do with wealth rather than poverty, at first it's hard for us to grasp, but it's absolutely possible. So the more aware you make your own mind, conscious and subconscious, of just how much affluence there is, just how much money is moving around, the more easily you will attract wealth. Write that one down as well. So this is no idle exercise, I suggest. It is an important step in conditioning your mind to attract wealth. You know what? Something else I want to interject is, I recently got an email, actually it was a few months ago, from Tony Rush, one of the leaders in Empower Network, and he was sharing how he stopped shopping at Walmart. He says, you know what? It's not that I view that I'm too good for Walmart. It's just the whole environment that is Walmart, the message that they send, the environment when you walk into one of those stores, the type of people that are there. We're not talking about race, we're not talking about anything like that, but the type of person that goes to Walmart is very, very wealth inhibited. They're very poverty mindset, looking to scrape up every penny. And he said that, you know what, he doesn't want to be around that. He wants to be, he shops at other stores, so he completely stopped shopping at Walmart. And I'm like, dang, at first I was like, oh man, that's kind of harsh, it's kind of prideful, but as I thought about it more, it's totally true. Like, if you are subjecting yourself to people who are struggling and they're constantly, trying to lower the price on something, and they're just scraping and grasping for every last dollar, and you're getting that mindset of, oh, I have to get the lowest price and I have to save on this and just price. It's a mindset, and it's going to kind of like suck you down like quicksand. So it is something to think about, something I wanted to mention. Let's let's see, where was I? An important step in conditioning your mind to attract wealth. And just as your body might be conditioned for health and fitness and longevity, your mind must be conditioned for wealth. This observing of money flowing around the affluent is such an important and beneficial exercise. I have taken one of my wealth attraction coaching groups to Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge on a field trip, all staying on the concierge floor, taking the sunrise safari, lunching with a staff Imagineer, eating in the 5-star restaurants. I took my coaching groups on a field trip to the Forum shops. I give subscriptions to the Rob Report as client gifts. Even if you are not yet living an affluent lifestyle, you must immerse yourself in the expanded awareness of what it is like and how many people are. That way you begin to believe that it's possible for yourself. There's just like a little photo for us to look at. To believe the streets are awash with money, you need to see the streets awash with money. If there aren't any in your own neighborhood, you just need to get out more. Neiman Marcus invented the idea of offering extraordinarily expensive, unique items in their annual holiday catalogs years ago, initially, more as a means of getting publicity than making spectacularly profitable sales. However, over the years, the practice has led to Neiman Marcus and many other catalog merchants inventing unusual gift offers. Several years ago, Victoria's Secret offered a diamond-encrusted bra for $1 million. One of my favorites was presented in a catalog called Gentleman's Domain. A product from the Eli Bridge Company, a manufacturer that builds amusement park rides, has been building them for the industry for 100 years. With the offer in Gentleman's Domain, for a mere $300,000, you could have the real thing in your backyard, a 67-foot-high, 16-seat Ferris wheel. The catalog copy warned that you would need a 220-volt power outlet, and since it weighed almost 20 tons, you may have wanted to have the patio checked out before getting started. There are 2 lessons here. 1, another illustration of the amount of money flowing, and 2, the opportunity to dip into the flowing stream as you wish, given enough ingenuity to create something captivating to people. While these kind of outrageous gift examples date back to 1955, when Neiman Marcus began the creative exercise in response to the blossoming of the new oil rich in Texas, it is a terrific success clue for the new economy, in which everyone expects something unique, of particular and precise relevance to them, and is willing to pay premium prices or fees for it. In Neiman Marcus's Christmas catalogs, a jewel-encrusted tiger, $588,000 stocked and staffed Noah's Ark, and his and her jets. Of course, most people's reaction to an outrageous example like this is to cry, irrelevant. After all, your customers don't have this kind of money to blow. Your customers are tight-fisted cheapskates. You have had a hard time selling to your customers, yada, 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 phooey. A few years back, I produced an infomercial-style video brochure for a client who builds top-of-the-line expensive backyard sheds. Not the tin jobs you think of. These are more like miniature houses with peaked roofs, doors, windows, flower boxes, and complete interiors with workbenches, bookshelves, and cabinetry. The priciest of them could even be sold in the Neiman Marcus catalog. To shoot the video, I took a crew to a number of the customers' backyards to see their sheds and tape their testimonial comments. One happy couple, with not 1 but 2 sheds in their backyard, his and her sheds, are both retired and on Social Security, and he's got 1 small pension. They're totally on a fixed income. 2 sheds. Another guy with the biggest shed and a big pond in his backyard started out telling me something of a sob story. If you heard it, you'd assume he didn't have 2 nickels rubbed together, but somehow, miraculously, he dug up about $20,000 for landscaping and a koi pond, and another $10,000 for the shed. The truth, known to all smart marketers, is everybody somehow finds plenty of money to buy whatever they decide they want to buy. I'm going to repeat that, because no matter who it is, everybody somehow finds plenty of money to buy whatever they decide to buy. I wish you could see my fingers. I'm like rubbing this right here. Decide they want to buy. There's always a lot of hidden money in the market as a whole, and in the vast majority of households and businesses. It hides from everyone failing to offer sufficiently motivating and interesting offers. It is the invisible to entrepreneurs with a vision blocked by their own ideas about the absence of available spending power. Lots of people complain about how tough they have it, raising a family, 3 kids, both parents having to work. Both parents and all 3 kids have cell phones, about $90 a month in charges, which is kind of cheap actually for a family plan. Both of the older kids are in not one but several activities: dance, karate, little league. Both parents drive new autos. There's a satellite dish on the side of the house, a big flat screen TV in the den, a TV in every bedroom. They wouldn't know tough if it bit them in the butt, and they freely buy whatever they decide to buy. It is a huge, huge, huge mistake for you to accept any part of the suggestion that money's tight, hard to get, that your customers don't have money or won't spend it. And if by some freak, rare, incredible chance you actually have managed to put yourself in a position where the people you are doing business with are short of money or tight about spending it, you choose your customers. Switch to some who freely spend. There are plenty of them out there. One of the keys to turning your wealth attraction power on to max is acceptance of all the responsibility for your outcomes in life. The nature of your customers, the responsiveness of your customers, the buying behavior of your customers is the relationship with you is your responsibility, not theirs and not anyone else's. Don't buy what the bad newsmongers are selling. Beware the news media. For some perverse reasons of their own, about which I have my suspicions, me too, the mainstream media constantly underreports good economic news and overhypes the bad economic news. During the recent recession, the media loved to compare it to the Great Depression to such an egregious extent that my friends at the prestigious Business and Media Institute at Media Research Center issued an entire detailed report for the media, the public, and groups like my clients debunking the comparison. It is a huge, huge, huge mistake for you to accept the mainstream media's bias, liberal, agenda-driven misrepresentation of the state of the economy or of the amount and level of opportunity in this country at any time. And whatever you do, do not listen to any of the even more outrageously inaccurate assertions from Michael Moore and his ilk. There is a contingent of more types who insist on promoting the idea that there is a teeny tiny group of evil rich versus a gigantic population of viciously oppressed masses for whom there is no opportunity. The spew of Moore and others who echo it is toxic. I have written a lengthy article about this, originally intended for the No BS Business Success book, omitted through editorial decisions, and subsequently published in my autobiography, Unfinished Business, which you can find more information at renegemillionaire.com. The truth is that the biggest, fastest growing, most expansive, and expanding segment of the American population is mass affluent, not poor. Admittedly, this trend was temporarily slowed by a recession, but demographics guarantee that it will pick up steam and hit a faster stride than ever before post-recession in the new economy. Here's something interesting about affluence. I was born in 1954. Owning the color TV in the neighborhood was a sign of affluence. When I was a kid, we were the only people in our entire neighborhood near Cleveland, Ohio, to have a swimming pool. That was a big deal. Getting a new car, a big deal. In the 70s, a 2-car household was affluent. Now it's a 2-home household. A few years back, when I was still flying commercial on a flight from Cleveland to Orlando, I realized through conversation that every single person in the first class seats owned a home in Cleveland and another home in Orlando or Florida. There is right now, this minute, more disposable income by any measurement, dollars, percentages, ratios, you pick the statistics you like, than ever before. There are more people invested in real estate in addition to their homes and in the stock market than ever before. And despite stalls and reverse in values and value growth of these assets, there are more millionaires than ever before. The biggest wealth transfer in American history from my parents' generation to mine is in progress, with another to follow from my generation to the next. On top of that, new categories of products and services, new entertainments and recreations, new industries, new opportunities abound in internet marketing. Stop and think about all the businesses that didn't even exist when you were a kid. I marvel at it all. Social media, Facebook, MySpace. It seems that every day somebody invents another new means of attracting wealth. Consider it the simple but fast-growing home-based business of mommy blogging. If you've ever heard of it, it's nearly 9 years old and expanding exponentially. A growing list of major corporations have moved from merely giving free product samples to paying sponsorship fees, per posting fees, and ad dollars to stay-at-home moms who use and write about their products on their blogs, giving mom-to-mom recommendations. Most of these bloggers are small-time operators picking up Free products, a few $100s a month, maybe an all-expense-paid junket now and then, like a family trip to SeaWorld. But an increasing number are moving up to thousands of dollars in monthly income, and some even more, especially with the Empower Network. There are even aggregators organizing these fragmented solo operators into groups under single umbrellas so bigger dollars can be secured from advertisers. The activity has become so significant that in mid-2009, the Federal Trade Commission began discussions about regulating it as an advertising media and imposing requirements for disclosures about payments received by the bloggers. That's why we have our payment and our income disclosure with Empower Network. This grassroots made by moms activity is likely to morph into an organized, substantial industry generating hundreds of millions of dollars a year and, yes, creating wealth for many involved, as well as for up-and-coming businesses that find ways to use this unusual advertising and marketing media. This is but one of the literally thousands of examples of new wealth creation devices and opportunities springing to life all around you. I am absolutely convinced that if you don't do well financially in America today, it is either due to utter ignorance of opportunity or choice. It definitely is not due to lack of opportunity. You need to be convinced of this too. I wrote that down as a note as well. These fact-based beliefs are essential to turning off wealth inhibition and turning up wealth attraction. If you do not share these beliefs, if you doubt and question the fact of unlimited, ready, available abundance of both opportunity and money, then you need to invest time and energy on your own fact-finding research mission and make this sell to yourself. Otherwise, to borrow my friend, my computer is going to die. Make this quick. The late Jim Newman, author of the fine book Release Your Brakes, You're Driving Down the Highway to Wealth. One foot on the gas, but another foot riding the brake. I'm not going to read this one because my laptop is dying. How did you enjoy Wealth Magnet number 2? Wow, is all I can say. I did take a lot of notes on that. I encourage you just to go back and just write down some key points because, again, I mean, writing down and taking notes while you're learning, I don't know about you, but it really helps me. So I have about 3 pages of notes on that particular Wealth Magnet. But I will see you in the next video where we're going to discuss Wealth Magnet number 3, Break Free from Fairness. See you then.